Okay. Sorry for the wait. Just had to let my voice sit for a bit. Let me also roam this back. Won't. And done. Okay. Good that. So let's get started on this next story before my voice gets thrown out. So let's see what happens now after the events of Shaper's Ripples. ER09 Crescent Sun. Candy Express. You signed it. Night creeps over the Isle of Flowers, gradually devouring the lifeless campus beneath twilight's shadow. Deep within the ruins atop the academic building where wails of anguish echo. Leaning against the rust-stained railing, the girl's gaze is drawn to the flower-like lights in the distant sky. Humans. Even when freed from the moral coil, their souls refuse to cross over to the other side. With the world in such a state, what's the point of hiding in their shells and merely existing? When the wind rises, they will fall like wheat in the field. As strands of hair slide across her cheek, a girl's crimson eyes flicker slightly. Come out. Something lurking in the building's shadow slowly emerges into the light. Sorry, I didn't mean to spy on you. I just wanted to check on you. Every part of this vessel is your handiwork. What's there to check? Even authors have slight inconsistencies when writing the same character in different stories. I just want to be responsible. What exactly are you? In human terms, I suppose you'd call me a red-tide creature. I did help you, at least. Why so apathetic? Help me? The girl looks down at her own body, letting out a scornful laugh. Still better than that sickly state you were in before. You only did it because I have some value I'm aware of, right? You could interpret it that way, but why not think of it as an invitation instead? Where to, and for what? Listen. Cradle closes her eyes and smiles. Faint sounds of tides and whispers begin to echo in the girl's ears. The children of the Red Tide are eager to meet you. I'd rather not, at least not now. The girl turns around, gripping the railing as she gazes down at the building below. I still have unfinished business. Rest assured that you will have some time to prepare before the feast. That's a basic courtesy, after all. Besides, I'm not fond of stories that are cut short halfway through. But when you continue this story, may I watch from the sidelines? You can keep quiet enough. Naturally. Cradle gives a gentle smile as she retreats into the shadows before completely vanishing. She pauses for a moment. Alright, there's one thing I should remind you. Even with my power merged into your heart, your heart still cannot pump enough blood through your veins. Meaning, there is a limit to your powers. If you overdo it, you might not even be able to maintain this form. However, if you are able to fully merge with the Red Tide and become one of us, such limitations will no longer exist. That is none of your concern. When this place collapses, I will do as you wish. Now, I look forward to our next encounter. Cradle disappears as silently as she came, leaving no trace of her presence. Only the girl is left behind on the desolate rooftop. What an unlikable person. Just like me. Good. The basic compatibility training went smoothly. All ratings are excellent. Of course, there are so many adjustments that need follow-up. I recommend you come back for a few more visits. I appreciate the offer, but there's someone rather impatient waiting for me outside. V? Oh, Valeria. Quickly. So I guess this is before current time then, I guess. I'll just ask you directly. Why the sudden need to switch me to a new frame, and why is such a tight schedule for compatibility testing? Valeria briefly looks away. Yata knows this gesture means she does not want to answer the question directly. Shorthalt is dead, and Scarab needs a new captain. That doesn't count as an answer. I refuse. I can't be like that guy, always running his mouth and sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. In battle, I either charge straight ahead or make a quick retreat when things get dicey. All that stuff about assessing combat situations, coordinating battle formations, leading the team through encirclements. Not to mention comforting kids and dealing with drunk robots. I don't have any of these leadership qualities, not a single one. I'm more comfortable with the simple things like hunting down some poor bastard with you. Yata crosses her arms and turns away in irritation. Whatever. No matter how unwilling she might be, Yata has no choice but to follow Valeria's orders. She is the commandant, after all. But the expected order never comes, and Yata can't help but turn her head to look. Here. Valeria slowly pulls a few liquid-filled mint candies from her coat pocket. I'm not a kid. I'm not short-thought either. Don't try to bribe me with these things. Yata snatches the candy with a huff, tears open the wrapper and pops it into her mouth in one go. If you got me this new frame just so I could take over, I suggest you ask for a refund right now. You're overthinking it. I wouldn't push you that far. The squad just got a new mission. The Red Tide is gathering around an artificial island. Scarab needs to investigate the cause of this unusual movement. Do you realize what kind of scenario you're describing? Yata stops chewing. Even if Shorthalt was still here, this isn't something we could just casually take on, right? That's exactly why I got you the new frame. After a moment's thought, Yata carefully folds the candy wrapper and hands it back to Valeria. Is it too late to reject it? You've already signed for it. As she speaks, Valeria pulls out her tactical terminal and begins synchronizing the mission data. Yata sighs and begins reviewing the intel. As she flips through the pages, Valeria's voice suddenly cuts through. Yata. Scarab needs a new captain. Yata remains silent, only turning to leave after she finishes reading through the entire mission brief. Yata? We'll talk when I come back. Yata pauses by the trash bin, about to throw away the candy wrapper. After a moment's hesitation, she holds it up briefly with her back to Valeria, then tucks it away. You can't just placate me with this thing. Like I said, I'm not him. I'm not Shorthalt. Babylonia, Quararia, Huntsbreak, High Risk, blah blah blah. It went away from the bustling corridors inside the war conference room that bears a high security clearance level. Holographic projections thoroughly cover every door and window, while the soundproofing system operates as normal. Two figures sit facing each other, seemingly deep in an intense discussion. Two task force squads have lost contact at the same location twice in a row. They were both deployed for a low-risk area survey. Hilda rubs her nose, flips to the next page of the briefing, and steals a glance at Nicola sitting across from her. Given the current situation, it's hard to see how this mission could be classified as low risk. Commander, do you have any thoughts on this?
The risk ratings for military missions have always been nothing but classifications on paper. If all battlefields can match our expectations, we'd call them training exercises instead.
So, what did they encounter on this so-called battlefield?
Initially, Squad A was only ordered to track the Red Tide's movements. During their mission, they discovered an artificial island in the western Pacific marked as Hydrangea.
Hydrangea Artificial Island?
It was named after the hydrangeas that grow abundantly on the island. As a precautionary measure, Squad A made the decision to land and investigate the island. 72 hours after Squad A landed on the island, Babylonia lost all contact with them.
That's why Squad B was sent to search for them. Soon after, they too went dark. One after another, they all went silent. Were they infected, or perhaps...
We can't rule out the possibility of infection. First of all, we lack any intelligence about that area. We know absolutely nothing about the surface conditions. Secondly, the Red Tide's movement in the area has been suspicious. Recently, it seems to be converging on the island.
The Red Tide is converging on the island? Can I take it that something on the island is causing these anomalies?
Apparently so. Two squads wouldn't vanish one after another for no reason.
However, Commander, there are still some questions I'd like you to answer. Hilda casually flips back several pages following the creases she made earlier. According to this briefing, Squad A sent the distress signal to Babylonia after they went missing. After landing on the island, Squad B briefly established contact with them. However, when Squad B approached the coordinates of the distress signal, Squad A suddenly went dark. After that, both squads went completely silent.
What are you implying?
Even from a layman's perspective, this bears the hallmarks of a premeditated ambush. Furthermore, I don't believe the infected constructs could maintain this level of intelligence. This is just my speculation, but could there be a possibility that Squad A had defected?
It's possible, but the likelihood is low. Defectors don't usually broadcast their betrayal. The Purifying Force's retribution is nothing to scoff at. It makes little sense for Squad A to launch a counterattack against Squad B right after their mission, especially right under our surveillance. If we assume defection as the motive, Squad A's actions would be incredibly foolish.
That's why you didn't immediately deploy the Purifying Force.
News of construct defection would be extremely sensitive in the current climate.
Of course, that's precisely why we're meeting today. The emergency confidentiality protocol I signed 30 minutes ago is now in effect. All information regarding this incident has been temporarily classified. I can't say how long this information blackout will remain effective. With two squads missing, I'm certain Corona's informants have already begun to move. But before we make any formal decisions, I trust you've gathered sufficient intel about the mission location. Let's return to discussing the island since you claim it's the source of our problems. We may have insufficient information on hand, but there must be records of that artificial island during the Golden Age.
As you predicted, I do have some historical documents on hand. The Hydrangea Artificial Island was once a military fortress used for large-scale weapons testing. After the experiments concluded, the island was approved for commercial redevelopment with profit in mind. Universal Toys and many other tech giants saw the potential, jointly investing in the renovation project. Several colleges and their affiliated research institutes were established on the island, creating an integrated hub for education, research, and campus life. As a model of elite education during the Golden Age, it aimed to nurture the next generation of scientific talents. However, the Hydrangea Artificial Island was abandoned following the punishing virus outbreak.
Academy Island, huh? In that era of excess educational resources, I thought liberal education policies had already been widely implemented across the world.
But there was also an opposing trend. The reality is, opportunists exist in every era. Those who weaponize knowledge want their children to wield the power to control the world too. This was especially true for those who came to this island. They were both scientists and parents to their own children. So, what exactly was being taught on Hydrangea Island, or rather what was being researched? Their publicly announced research direction is the development of smart technology for public use.
Practical smart technology applications. How conveniently simple.
But if you take a closer look at the island's personnel roster, you'll see that the scientists stationed there were all elite researchers in their respective fields, most of whom had radical research philosophies. Take the island's ordinary high school, Misono High School, for example. It had a teacher-to-student ratio of 2 to 1. 2 teachers per student on average. There's no reasonable explanation for such a scenario.
Was education merely a front? What exactly is it that they were trying to do? Hilda takes out her tablet and swiftly types in several keywords with practice efficiency. According to a non-disclosed investigation report from the Science Council, a large portions of the project's funding were unaccounted for. The auditor from the accounting firm during the Golden Age was killed in a car accident during the investigation.
Actually, there's something that's been bothering me.
What is it?
Reika Saotome, the technical director and scientific advisor of the Hydrangea Island project.
Reika? Saotome? Hilda's expression clouds with confusion at the unfamiliar name. Nicola's desk terminal rings with an incoming call. Nicola exchanges a quick glance with Hilda before answering the call. Make it quick, I'm busy.
Reika Saotome. How much do you know about this name?
Wasted potential.
Care to elaborate?
I don't know what you've discovered, but I wouldn't waste my time on this if I were you.
Oh, from what I know, she was a prodigy who earned a doctorate at a young age, with expertise spanning mathematics, horticulture, life sciences, computer science, and mechanical engineering. Even during the Golden Age, she had already proposed and implemented her theory of memory projection.
It's consciousness projection. Asimov corrects Nicola without hesitation. It's a branch of consciousness connection technology developed from its basic framework with certain unique functional characteristics. This theory once sparked considerable debate in mainstream academia and even generated quite a few scandals.
Scandals?
It violated humanitarian principles by repeatedly conducting human experiments with unauthorized medicines.
And then
Nothing. If she had made any real breakthroughs, the file would have been filed with her achievements. You wouldn't have had to call and ask me. Asimov shakes his head like he's explaining something completely mundane. If you're interested, why not subscribe to the Science Council's back issues? The entries of these seemingly valuable but ultimately meaningless theories alone will keep you busy until breakfast tomorrow.
is there no future at all for this technology?
Theoretically, yes. I've read that paper, and if its proposed vision were to become reality, it would indeed be beneficial to us. But as you should know, even as outsiders to the field, academic papers can be full of hot air, and they never appeared in any journals after that anyway. In all likelihood, they hit a complete dead end with the research direction and abandoned the project entirely.
That might not be the case. At least your colleagues don't share that opinion.
Nicola forwards his documents to Asimov, specifically highlighting an entry about the Science Council's unaccounted funds. Project Hydrangea Island. I can help, but you'll need to adjust the schedule yourselves. We'll need more manpower and resources to handle another project.
Asimov pauses briefly as the sound of the conversation comes through from the other end of the line.
And my time as well. Let's leave it at that. Contact me when there's progress.
Did you hear all that, Hilda?
Crystal clear.
So,
A genius or a madman. A potential revolutionary or an enemy of the world.
I've been thinking. There's a possibility that the island still harbors the prototype of some illegal experiments. It was that very prototype that triggered consequences beyond our prediction.
Are you worried Reika Saotome might still be alive?
I'm worried that her secret research on that island has awakened something.
Red tide is converging on the island. Hilda closes her eyes and draws in a sharp breath.
I fear the red tide has disrupted some kind of balance on the island.
If what you're saying is true, then we've got a serious problem on our hands. Let's dispatch another squad. We still have time before the confidentiality protocol expires.
This will be yet another dangerous gamble, and we might lose all the bargaining chips we've gotten so far.
I will maintain information control within the agreed time frame. This is up to your discretion, sir.
He gives Nicola a slight nod before standing up and leaving.
He massages his temples before switching to his thermal to an encrypted channel. It's me. What's the mission target? Let us to the current state. Into the summer. A massive muffled explosion follows as flames rise from the clearing near the forest.
The Scarab Squad transport aircraft departs from Babylonia and enters automatic cruise mode. Valeria leaves the pilot seat and walks steadily toward the back of the cabin.
Let me go over the mission brief. The red tide is gathering at an artificial island. 2 squads have gone missing. We may have to deal with the missing squads on top of the hero creatures there.
Yeah, recall about red tide?
Why isn't this mission assigned to a proper task force squad like the Grey Ravens? Grey Ravens are still helping Lucia with her frame replacement, but more importantly, so this is a bit before we go into the tower. We've been chosen primarily because one of us is familiar with the mission location. Valeria rarely asks questions. In other words, she's the type to pack everything she wants to say into statements. And right now this means... Yata feels Valeria's gaze turned toward her. Hydrangea Island. This is where I went to high school. I know my way around there. I can be your guide, assuming there are still paths to follow. The island was abandoned following the punishing outbreak. I'm one of the few survivors. As for the details, I'm sure the commander's intel is more comprehensive than what I know. Seeming to have noticed her own emotions, she adds these explanations before closing her eyes. Sure. Well then, let's continue. Weather satellites have captured continuous movement patterns during the night. After this brief interlude, Valeria resumes explaining the mission details. Discord reviews the mission details on her terminal and as she listens to Valeria talking while Shiva reclines in her seat, resting with her eyes closed. Yata props her cheek up, twirling her hair with her right index finger as her gaze drifts out the window. At some point, Earth's silhouette gradually fills her entire view, followed by patches of clouds. The approaching blue planet stirs indescribable ripples in Yata's heart. Certain memories, intentionally locked away, now force their way into her mind. That blue sky is as much as a spider's web as it is an endless midsummer. No one can truly escape. Such a deep blue sky, not a cloud in sight. It's rare to have such a nice weather on the first day of school. Why don't you take this chance to look around? This is so annoying. I've never seen such a stuffy old school. Keep your voice down, Yata. See, your student handbook proudly states, Bisola Academy High School is a private institution renowned for its strict discipline. We cultivate elite individuals who possess both academic excellence and noble character. The school's motto is explore the vast universe, strive for human perfection. How very. It's less about outdated aesthetics and more about deliberately projecting an air of superiority. What kind of superiority? The arrogance of the elite class. Anyhow, this is the best high school there is on the island. The old man had to call in favors from several friends for recommendation letters just to get you enrolled here. Why should I care? He never asked for my opinion before moving to the island. Sorry, my bad again. Back then, I followed my father to the school on a day without a cloud in sight. Directionless in life, I drifted aimlessly through my youth. I gazed at the short school gate, built with precious stones, and the emblem emblazoned in gold letters. I failed to sense the elitist arrogance my father had warned me about. Instead, I sensed a kind of fear, a fear that made everyone tread carefully. Rotting petals littered the ground as harsh sunlight bore down mercilessly. Soon, sweat soaked through my uniform's lining. I undid a button, but the heat remained unbearable. Seeking shelter from the sun, I weaved through the crowd of new students and their parents. Under a tree by the school gate stood a fair-skinned girl. Our eyes met by chance. She stood motionless like a doll, her brows furrowed. Thinking she might need help, I walked over to her. Hello there, are you waiting for someone? Yes, can I help you? Oh, I'm Yada. I'm a first-year student too. Yada? May I know your name? Nice to meet you, The transport's roar pulls Yata back to the cramped cabin. What's wrong? Oh, I'm listening. Besides investigating the red tide and locating missing squads, we have another objective. Capture the target alive if possible. Who's the target? Scientists from the Golden Age. I've sent the details to your terminal. The transport is about to reach the designated altitude. Everyone get ready. I have a bad feeling about this. Even after all these years, Yata still kicks herself for what happened that day. She regrets being so lost in memories that she fails to stop Shiva from speaking. Beep beep beep. Harsh red warning lights suddenly flood the cabin. Urgent alarms and an automated voice message follows suit. High-speed heat signature detected. RWR's response. Shiva rushes to the pilot seat. What's wrong? Is this some sort of malfunction? It's radar warning. Surface air missile detected 3 o'clock under, moving at high speed. As Shiva rapidly walks the control panel, Discord moves in for a closer look. Can we make it? Should we try the EM interference? ECM system deployed, calculating basic trajectory. Wait, the attack source has an IFF signal with no lock indicator. It's friendly fire. The incoming missiles are from Babylonia surface to air defense system. Verify IFF protocol. It's been terminated unilaterally. 2 seconds. Deploy shaft and ECM. No time, everyone hold on tight. As a blinding flash erupts from the left wing, Yatta forces Discord's head down. Tremendous impact rocks the small cabin, sending violent shockwaves coursing through its walls. And the explosions wake black smoke and the acrid stench of burning seep into the cabin. Yatta reaches out with a mechanical arm and catches Valeria, who's been flung to the other side of the cabin. Piercing alarms blare through the cabin. The danger is far from over. Engine test critical. Fuel tank breach. Fuselage fire. Radar malfunction. Shiva, give me a status report. We lost one engine completely and the other one appears to be compromised as well. The left wing is barely responding to controls and the autopilot system is practically non-functional. Worst of all, we're dealing with a fuel tank breach. We're already below the safety threshold. Shiva, I'm authorizing an IFF protocol override. Launch 2 air-to-ground missiles at the source of the attack. IFF disengaged. Anti-radiation missiles lock onto the source of the attack. It's no use. The bomb bay is jammed. Gotta activate emergency protocol and prepare for equipment airdrop to reduce weight. Copy that. Tracking beacon connected to the terminal. High speed heat signature detected. You've gotta be kidding. Another one? High speed SAM, 3 o'clock under. AI module malfunction, unable to calculate the evasive maneuvers. Shiva, take control of the aircraft. You're authorized to perform high risk evasive maneuvers. Autocruise disengage. Everyone hold on tight, we're diving. Shiva pushes the control stick forward to its limit, causing the aircraft nose to pitch downward. In that instant, Yatta spots a glint of light in the distant clouds. Shiva, more to the left. She responds by forcefully banking the transport aircraft to the left. A sharp evasive maneuver causes something to break loose from the wing. As trails of fire mark the path of deployed flares, another violent explosion erupts nearby. The cabin shudders slightly, but this time everyone stays firmly in their seats. Did we dodge it? Not completely. Something on the other side of the transport aircraft must have been hit. At least it wasn't the bomb bay. I consider ourselves very lucky, all things considered. How much fuel do we have left? Can't tell, the instruments are dead. About to return mission, we'll make an emergency landing on Hydrogen Zero Island. As for speed, is the map navigation system still working? We're at the optimal altitude for shoulder-mounted missiles, we need to act fast. Hydrogen Gear's outline is in view, but we can't confirm the terrain, no data in the database. Switching to the visual guidance, initial assessment shows 3 potential landing zones. With a higher chance of success, the central inland area would be our best bet. The Bay Area might be contaminated by the red tide. We'll land in the central inland area. Brace for impact. Roger. There's so much vegetation. Even the spaces between buildings are filled with tall trees. This is annoying. Can't even see where the ground is through all this. Proximity warning. The transport aircraft's last remaining engine fires diagonally forward, attempting to slow itself down as it skims the ground. After breaking through countless trees, the transport craft's tail makes contact with the ground. A massive, muffled explosion follows as the flames rise from the clearing near the forest. As the smoke billows into the sky, Hydrogen Island falls silent once more. Meanwhile, inside the now erected industrial transport ship, Shiva, deploy the drones. You have to check if the mammon weapons are still operational. 2 recon drones are still functional, deploying them now. Use your pulse gun. Valeria takes the pulse gun from Yada and inspects it into its energy storage unit. Signal lost from both drones. Watch out, enemies nearby. Just as Yata reaches for the mangled cabin door, a powerful electromagnetic pulse strikes from nowhere, forcing her to her knees before she can react. Ugh. Damn it, what the hell is this? Valeria swiftly establishes a consciousness link to stabilize Yata and Discord's mind. Something's wrong. It's a malicious interference targeting the mind. And there are other commandants on the island. Well, are there other commandants on the island? Or perhaps... Radar is picking up infected mechanoids at 9 o'clock. Is it one or multiple? Could just be one. Wait. Suspicious signals detected at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 8 o'clock. We can't stay in the transport craft any longer. We need to find our way out. Shiva synced the map data from the drones from both of the drones to our terminals. Only 12% of environmental data has been collected within the range of transport. Clear enemy signatures detected behind the trees on the left flank. That'll do. Yata, prepare to breach. Roger. Okay, I am tired though. I was hoping I'd be able to last through this, all of this, but I can't. Especially with how long that was, both of those. So, we're gonna call it here. Good night, everyone, and I'll try to get back as soon as I can after waking up. Bye-bye.